everybody. So my name is Toni Scullion. So I'm actually a computer and science teacher at a high school in West Lothian, so St Kenty Girls Academy. And as well as being a computer and science teacher, I am also a founder of my own charity called DressCode. So it's very exciting to have you guys here today.
And what's your favourite piece of technology and why?
So my favourite piece of technology, I've got a few, but I love like AirPods right now. They're my favourite, and I love my phone. But I was thinking about this, and I think my favourite piece of technology that I've got is like a Google Home. So I'm a Google Home guy. I'm not an Alexa. Are any of you Google Home people? Who's got a Google Home? Who's got an Alexa? Anybody? Oh yeah. So yeah, I'm the other side of it. So I love Google Home because I love, like, I don't know if any of you have got it set up that you can be like, hey Google, turn the lights on, or like, hey Alexa, turn the lights on. And I love that. I just love that you can like interact and like make it do things. It's so cool. Yeah, so it's like having your own little personal robot. So Google Home is my favourite piece of technology. So the person who inspired me the most to pursue a career in STEM would be my high school computer science teacher. So he was called Mr. Donahue, and he was amazing. And at school, computing was my ultimate favourite subject ever. Like, loved it. And so I think from a really young age, like, I always knew as soon as I got to high school, I was like, yeah, that's it. It's got to be something to do with computing. So it's all kind of thanks to my original computer science teacher, which is really exciting. Now I am a computer science teacher, so I feel like I've kind of went all circle. But yeah, so he was the one who kind of put me on the path and inspired me and excited me from the very beginning. So computer science, like, is the best subject. I'm obviously going to say that, but when you get to high school, like at our school, what we do is we would teach you how to make games. You would get to program a robot. So like, I don't know if you have seen a Marty the robot. Have you seen a Marty the robot? Coolest thing ever, right? So yeah, you get to like make them walk and make them dance. So we do like little puzzles like that. We'd also like get to make your own apps. And it's so cool because it's not just like making an app. You get to make an app and you actually have it on your phone. You can share it with your friends and you can give it to your like family and stuff. So what I usually do with my classes is like, you would make an app, but then it would be like a Christmas present for like your auntie or your cousin or sister or whatever, which is really cool. And they can actually download it from like the Apple store or like whatever. It's really, really good. And then as well, what we would do is like get to make websites. We once tried to program a drone, which was interesting. But yeah, so it's definitely my favourite subject, and you get to do lots of like practical hands-on tasks. But it's really trying to make, like, taking an idea that you've got, like a website, or maybe you want to be like, I don't know, some sort of like athlete when you're older, or like run your own business, but like using the code to actually create your own website. It's so exciting. I love it. It's really, really good. You're going to have a brilliant time when you go to high school. Yeah, my favourite parts of the job, two kind of favourite parts, if that's allowed. Favourite parts of the job of being a computer and science teacher is like working with children. Like, you guys, like when you go up to high school, and I'm sure your teacher will be the same, like, these are so funny, like, and there's never a day that just goes that's so boring. Like, you will come on and like light my like day up, and I might be having like a really rough day sometimes, and then kids come in my class and they just make me smile and make me laugh. And no matter how I think a lesson is going to go, like the kids always just make it like so much more fun. Like, it's really, really good, and I just love working with the children. And the second part of my job that I love is just the subject. Like, I love, like, how cool is it to say like, oh yeah, I'm making like 20 games with children today. It's amazing. And then once you've made the games, like, we get periods to actually play the games. Like, there is no other subject that does it, that you can actually sit and all like play games, like, and it's educational and you're learning, like, we're allowed. So yeah, definitely working with the kids is my favourite, and also just the subject itself is brilliant.
How did you get interested in STEM?
Interested in STEM. So I got interested in STEM from a very early age. I still actually remember like getting my first computer from my dad, and I was so excited. And it was always, when it was STEM, like, it was always computing for me. Loved science at school as well, but computing was so exciting. And I still remember being, it must have been about you guys, like, it must have been about your age. And I remember getting my first computer, and then I remember being, you know how you've got Facebook and stuff? Like, there used to be this website, and it was sort of like that, but like way back in the day. And you got to like edit your own background. And so I didn't really know what it was at the time, but you could actually change like a line of code, and it said red. So then I changed it to say blue, and then the whole screen turned blue, and I was like, that's magic. Like, it was so exciting. So from a really young age, I kind of taught myself how to make a website, but I didn't really know it at the time. And then after that, going to high school, meeting my computing science teacher, and he was just amazing and kept me really engaged and inspired. And then after that, went to college, met again another amazing teacher. Then university, same thing. And throughout my whole entire like education, I was like, oh, I definitely want to be a uni teacher, definitely want to be a college teacher. But then I kind of was like, no, do you know what? It's high school's the right age for me. And it's just so nice seeing like you guys, like seeing them grow from like, S1 all the way up to S6, and then watching you all go to university. It's so exciting. So yeah, it's been from the very start of like my whole journey has been when I got my first computer and changing that one line of code and seeing it happen. It's just magic. It's so exciting. And hopefully you guys will get to do it when you go to high school as well, and feel that like eureka moment of like, my goodness, I can actually make anything I want, and I don't need to like industry. I can do it myself, and you can actually change the world because you can put it out there and inspire everybody, like especially with social media these days. It's really good.
Do you have a favourite thing to teach under the umbrella of STEM?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but my favourite thing to teach, I'm kind of cheating with my answer, but I'm going to say programming, and it's because I know I can make like a Sphero ball. Have you seen them? And you can like program them, and it's like a little ball that goes round, and it's like you can do crazy golf, but like program it on your phone. You can make an app with programming. You can code a drone. You can make it like fly. Making a website, making a game. So yeah, I'm going to say programming is like my favourite thing, and then second after that, it would be like video editing. Like I love video editing and making GIFs and social media. Like love that. They two are like my favourite things. My high school teacher inspired me to become a computing science teacher, but I didn't really know at the time, so I knew that it had to be computing. Loved it. Then I went to college and I met an amazing lecturer called Chris Sinclair, and she was so good, and like that I just loved it. It was never like learning. I always felt like when I went to computing class, like at high school or at college or at university, it was never like a chore. You know how sometimes, I shouldn't say this, but sometimes you get lessons that you're a bit like, oh, that's a bit boring, but they're really important. But yeah, it never felt like that with me. So whenever I was computing, it was like a hobby. Like it was more just fun and so exciting. And I think it's just, I've never lost that joy and that excitement of my subject. So it would be like lots of people to thank, but it would be my computing science teacher, Mr. Donahue, thank you very much, Hazel Hall, my university lecturer, Chris Sinclair, and then the man who I work with just now, he's my colleague, Brendan McCart. Like he just makes it so exciting. Like every day he comes into like work and he's like, oh my goodness, Toni, have you seen this? And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like I can't believe that it's a job. Like it just doesn't feel like a job ever. And I think that's like one piece of advice as well, like I'd ever give you guys, like find a job that you love and you enjoy going to, because you spend so much time doing it, and hopefully you'll just love it as much as I love my job, because it's so much fun. Be a computing science teacher, best thing ever. The charity dress code is to try and get more girls into computing. So all you girls, pick it. But the reason it kind of happened was I became a computing science teacher, and then I started my own computing club, and it was great. It was really good, and we got like boys and girls along, and I loved it. And then the girls stopped coming, and so I found all the girls in the playground, and I was like, what's going on, girls? Like, why aren't you coming up with me? Like, let's make something really cool. And the boys were all like doing Minecraft and like coding away, like making their own games. Brilliant. I was like, where's the girls? And the group of girls who I spoke to, so this must have been like 6 years ago, the group of girls I spoke to, they were like, Miss, I don't want to be there. Like it's not great. Like it's not a nice environment. I don't really like it. I'm a bit shy, like that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, but I'm all by myself. I'm just with boys. Like, can you please come? Like, I'm the only girl. And then so what happened? The girls agreed to come. One, if I bought them chocolate, which I did, and two, if it was only just like them. And I was like, okay, let's go for it. So we made an all girls club and had an all boys club, but then also had like both. So the girls eventually started coming. So it was really exciting. But since then, it kind of eventually evolved, and then we got lots and lots of girls, and we were doing like amazing stuff and doing competitions, and then we'd like compete against the boys, and then do like boys and girls competitions. It was really good. And then so I decided to form it as a charity because I started looking at the figures and seeing, oh my goodness, this really is a problem. And I couldn't believe it because I had picked computing my whole entire life and I'd never really felt it as an issue, although there wasn't a lot of girls like in my classes. I didn't really see it as a problem. I just kind of thought like they're not there. And then when I realised like how big an issue it is, like even in industry and everything, there isn't lots of girls doing computing. So I thought, do you know what, I'm going to change this, because the girls, eventually I started with 2 girls, but eventually it turned out to like 20 girls come to the club, and it was the best lunchtime ever. Like we had so much fun, and it was great because it wasn't like a class, so like you could have a real laugh and like bring chocolates and things as well. So it was really, really good fun. So it was really about trying to like get other girls across the country doing that, and the best way I felt possible was to form my own charity and get it running in lots of different schools. So yeah, it's been really exciting. But that's the story of DressCode, and it's going really well. It's cool. I love it.
Do you think that there's like lots of girls who maybe work in computer science or who are studying computer science feel like they don't belong in computer science?
I think there may be like a lot, like some girls who feel that they don't belong, but I honestly think there's the girls who end up taking computing science, like firstly girls, the like research actually says that girls are better than boys. Sorry. So I can see lots of like disagreeing boys like no. But so I think the girls who end up at university or studying the subject, they love it. And I think as soon as they realise as well, like there's an amazing girl called Monica Richardson, and she's studying at Edinburgh Napier just now. And she's kind of the same. She realised like, oh, there is a problem. And so she's actually helping me out with Ada.Scott. I should tell you about Ada.Scott. So do you know who Ada Lovelace is? Any of you? No, right. So Ada Lovelace is the first ever programmer, like ever. And she was a girl, right? So we started it. Like, so we need to like big that up. So that was like hundreds of years ago. So what we've done, DressCode and Ada.Scott, we've created a festival for like kids. And there's lots of competitions, like amazing prizes out there, and it's happening on the 13th of October. So if you want to sign up, like you absolutely can, but like loads of cool prizes, like amazing. So yeah, you should get involved. But yeah, anyway, sorry. So back to the question. Yeah, I think there are girls out there who may feel because they can't see other girls with them or anything, I think they might think that they don't belong. But at the same time, I do think that those girls who end up there, they're so exciting, and a lot of girls nowadays, and especially the way I think, it shouldn't be girls working with girls, you know, it should be girls working with boys and boys working with girls. It should be, we all help each other. And so I think it's slowly going to start to change, and hopefully like you lovely amazing bunch, I can send like some competitions and stuff for you to do and see how you get on. But yeah, I think I'd like to think that people don't feel like that, and those people who do feel like that, I really hope that they find some sort of like initiative or organisation like DressCode or whatever to try and help stay in computing once they've went down that path.
What was the inspiration behind the name DressCode?
Yeah, I think this is a good question, and I was like panicking about it because it was kind of by accident. So the inspiration behind the name DressCode was, I knew I wanted to have the name like code in it. And then I was Googling, of course, like you do, and there's lots of initiatives. There's like an American initiative called like Girls Who Code, so I'm like, all right, I can't use that. And I didn't want like women who code, and I didn't want like pink code or anything like that, because my favourite colour is actually blue. So I didn't want any of that. So I was really, really struggling. And I just started like looking through the dictionary, to be honest, thinking like, what word could I put before or after? Because I can't just call it code. Like that's rubbish. Like come to my code club, like just code. So I tried to find something really catchy. And so I was going through the dictionary, but then also at the same time, my friend was going to like an award ceremony, and you know how like if you get an invite to a party, sometimes it says like, oh, there's a dress code and you have to be fancy. And then so that kind of happens, and I was like, oh, that's it, that's genius, because it's kind of a play on words, but I loved it. So it's really, really cool, and the logo as well has got lots of meaning behind it. So the logo, I'll send you it through so you can see it, but it's like slanted, it says dress, like italics. I don't know why I put my head like that, but italics, and then code next to it as well. And the italics is kind of like the dress is obviously, to the word dress represents girls, but then because it's slanted, it's like we're moving forward and we're going to like get more girls into code. So that's the kind of story behind it. I wish it was more exciting, but it really just happened by accident. I like it though. Do you like the name? Do you think it's good? Cool. That's good. So to be in charge of a charity dress, like my own charity dress code, is really weird, because I'm from a little town called Gorebridge. I don't know if any of you know it. So it's like Midlothian, like outside of Edinburgh. And like I just kind of went to school, went to college, became a teacher. It was really hard work, but like got there, and then just kind of thought I'd just be a teacher forever. Like didn't really think anything else. But then to make it a charity was really bizarre, and it's not something that I intended to happen, but it's just kind of like grown arms and legs, and yeah, it's kind of happened by accident, but it's something I love. But it still feels really odd to be like, oh yes, I'm a founder of a charity. I don't feel like grown up or serious enough to be in charge of a charity. But yeah, it's really cool. So it's exciting and I love it, but it still feels really odd. So DressCode started just as a girls clothing club, but then I've got so many other things happening. So I'm helping out with Ada.Scot, that was founded by two amazing lecturers as well. But also I've got the Churn Testers. So the Churn Testers are like senior girls who create like cyber treasure hunts for primary and secondary school. So I'll send you guys through them. You can try and see if you can get them. There's a really cool one that's open just now for primary schools as well, and it's all to do with like Marvel and stuff. No one's actually completed it in the whole of Scotland. So we could have Fintry being the only people in Scotland who have completed it. And there's prizes up for grabs, which is always really exciting to get a prize. So yeah, so part of DressCode, we've got that, but then I've also got a thing called like Computer Science Scotland, and I've got lots of other pieces of the puzzle. But so future plans for DressCode is going to be getting a primary dress code club. So love to get you guys involved as well and see what you think. But then as well, going into secondary, it would mean that there would be a secondary dress code club for you as well. Running more competitions as well, but also getting kids creating their own competitions and making it like national and wide, like national competitions, and making it going across to the whole of Scotland. So again, I'm more than happy to send stuff to you lot if you wanted to try and come up with your own competition, and we could get like a total all of Scotland completing like a Fintry competition or many Fintry competitions, and we could have prizes and stuff if you are up for it. I'd love that. That'd be so cool. So that's the kind of initial, the next steps, I suppose. Primary dress code and more competitions made by kids. I do think I've always wanted to have a career in the STEM industry. Always been computing, loved it. Again, like that, I've loved computing since the first time that I changed the little piece of code to like change the background colour and stuff. But I think if I could be anything else, I wouldn't mind being a dancer, but I'm really bad at dancing. So I'm jealous if any of you guys can dance. I'm terrible, but I'd love it. Or I would love to be a surgeon. Like, I think that would be amazing. I would love to have been a doctor. But again, I just am not smart enough. But they two would be my options. But it's always kind of been STEM, it's always been the goal. And it's kind of always been computing since I was really young, and still today, like I love doing what I'm doing.
What is your biggest achievement?
Oh, your questions are so good. Okay, so my biggest achievement, I think, would have been in 2017. So there was myself, and then there were 3 girls who had taught since first year, and then they were in 4th year at the time, so they were about like 16 years old, and they were my original Turing testers. So they had created a Scottish-wide competition, and we were up for an award, and it was really exciting. So there was me and my 3 girls up for an award in Edinburgh, wearing our fancy dresses, thinking we're never going to win. And then I won an award, and it was really exciting, and that was fine. But the award ceremony was ending at like midnight, but me and the girls were going back to West Lothian, so we had to like, you know, like get the last train home because we were coming from Edinburgh. So there were me, 3 girls dressed in our fancy dresses, but near the end of the night we had to leave, so we were putting on like our jackets and like just waiting for the last award to be announced. And then we're like halfway out the door thinking it's a bit rude to leave, like we'll wait until we hear who the original winner is. But like picture us with our fancy gowns on, but then with like a rain jacket and our school bags at the back of the award ceremony, just about to leave with the door sort of open. And then they're like, and the winners are Toni and the tune testers. And we're like, what? So we won the whole entire award, like the overall award of the night. And it was amazing. And I could not believe that like a teacher and like 3 of my senior girls won this award. And I mean, we beat like everybody. Like, it was so exciting. We beat someone who had like an award from the Queen, and we beat like companies, and it was amazing. So that's probably my biggest achievement. And I think as well that really encouraged me to do more and think, you know what, we could do something really special here with DressCode and the Turing testers. And then it just made me realise like how amazing like kids are, because all the competitions that like I'll send them through to you, but all the competitions from the Turing testers, they're made by children, they're not made by me. And so there is no reason why like you guys sitting in that classroom can't come up with a competition, send it to me, and then we'll put it out on the internet and get like the whole of Scotland doing it. Like, it's so exciting. And I think that was definitely my biggest achievement, because it made me realise that you can do so much more instead of just like in my school. I realised like, oh, we could really get so many kids excited and involved in computing. Yeah, so that was my biggest achievement. I did cry. It was really good. I loved it. So my greatest challenge would have been getting my higher English at secondary school. So what happened was I went through primary school and that was fine, and then I went through secondary, but I failed English. I didn't get the qualification at all, like nothing. So I stayed on till 6th year and I still didn't even get English at all, which is really bad. And it was really difficult because once I'd left high school, went to college, went to university, and then I realised I want to be a computing science teacher. But to become a computing science teacher, you need to have higher English. And that was really difficult for me because I didn't have it at high school. So I had to like go to night school to study higher English, and I didn't think I was going to get it. So I had to study. I was doing it like sort of 2 times. I was doing higher English at night school, but also going to college during the day to try and get my higher English. And I really wanted to become a computing science teacher, but because I didn't have this one qualification, I had to work really hard, and I ended up having to sit the exam. This is really embarrassing. I had to sit the exam when I was like 21 or something, but in the exam hall with my friend's little sister at the same time. So I had to go into high school like when I was 21 with kids who were like 16 getting their qualifications, like sitting at the back like really awkwardly, and they're all in uniform, and I'm like, yeah. So I think that was probably the biggest challenge, but probably the one thing I'm so proud of, because it really taught me that even if you don't have, like, if you've got a dream like being a computing teacher and you don't have a qualification and like to get that dream, or you don't have like money to get, like for example to run a charity or create your own charity, it's okay, you know, you can still work really hard and get it. Like, so if you think, do you know what, I want to be a surgeon, or I want to be a doctor, or I want to be becoming an animator or a games designer, but you're like, oh, I don't think I'm smart enough, or I don't have the qualifications, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can absolutely get the qualifications. You don't need to get them right now. Like that, it took me a few years to get there, and I think as long as you've got that dream and that passion, you can become whatever you want. And the one hurdle for me was higher English, and it took me a few years to get it, but I'm very proud to say I achieved it and got my dream, and I'm now a computing science teacher.
Would you consider yourself as an influencer?
Oh, no. I feel quite embarrassed by saying that already. So no, I would not consider myself an influencer. Like, I think I'm quite a shy person as well, and to me, I don't know, like, I think when you say influencer, I think of like all the people who I think are amazing and like I follow on Instagram and like YouTubers and stuff, and I'm just a teacher. So I think yeah, I'm just a teacher who's just trying to make a difference and inspire kids and get them as excited about computing as I am. So maybe not an influencer. I like to think that maybe I've inspired like a few people along the way to pick computing science and get excited about it. But yeah, I don't know, I feel a bit awkward. I'm too shy to be an influencer. I'm not cool enough.